You'll never know how much I really love you.
You'll never know how much I really care.
Listen, do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? Whoa, whoa, closer. Let me whisper in your ear. Say the words you love to hear. I'm in love with you. Ooh, listen, do-da-do. Do you want to know a secret? Do-da-do. Do you promise not to tell? Do-da-do. Closer. Do-da-do. Let me whisper in your ear. Do-da-do. Say the words you love to hear. I'm in love with you. Ooh, I've known a secret for a week or two. Nobody knows, just we two. Listen, do-da-do. Do you want to know a secret? Do-da-do. Do you promise not to tell? Do-da-do. Closer. Do-da-do. Let me whisper in your ear. Do-da-do. Say the words you long to hear. I'm in love with you.
My friend Grace and I go way back. She was in the original cast of Kiss Me Kate on Broadway. The year was 1948. She was 25, I was 16. I was gay and she was straight. We were friends because we sang in the St. Mark's Methodist Church in Brooklyn, New York. She sang all the solos. Oh my God, what a voice. She is going to turn the big 100 in October, and if I can, I'll fly to Florida to see her. Oh, how she could sing and perform. And I fancied myself in love with her. Okay, I had a huge crush. I decided to tell her I was gay and what I was feeling. Was I nuts? What was I thinking? Like I said, the year was 1948, and no one told anyone about their being gay. It just wasn't done. It was so forbidden, and everyone was in the closet, including me. So what the hell was I thinking? I was pretty damn nuts to be contemplating such a thing, but I thought with my pea brain that maybe, just maybe, she could be gay too, and we could, have a chance at being together. Oh, the mind of a smitten 16-year-old. So I prepared for the big event. I invited her out for soda at the local ice cream parlor. Romantic, right? As I sat opposite her, sipping my chocolate soda, I finally said, I have something to tell you. I'm gay. And I thought maybe, just maybe, you might be gay too. Are you gay? I felt tears coming, and she sat looking at me for the longest time, and finally she said, No, dear, I'm not gay, but your secret is safe with me, I promise. She also said that she had a feeling I might be going to tell her something like this, that she wouldn't tell anyone else about our conversation, and we've been friends ever since. Funny how some things that weren't ever meant to be romantic still work out in a wonderful, meaningful way. But to those who did suffer keeping secrets and keeping themselves hidden in silence, I say, when you walk through a storm, keep your chin up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone, because we're here to catch you. We're here, we're queer, get used to it.
You're getting all over your shirt.
Try to avoid the shirt.
That's good.
Done?
All right, I don't see it now.
Don't blow my hair!
My secret. My secret isn't some big personally damaging event or something that would, if found out, cause me tremendous heartache. Although, at the time, it would have drawn serious questions from my parents and peers. I was 16 years old and had recently moved with my family from Albuquerque, New Mexico, by way of Detroit, Michigan, to Norwalk, California. After a few months of living in Boardwalk, as my peers and I affectionately referred to our sleepy suburban home, I found my way out to Hollywood. I thought I had hit the jackpot in terms of sexual freedom and expression. It would be another few weeks until I discovered West Hollywood. It was 1979, and the atmosphere of sexual freedom and expression was seriously amped up as compared to my Hollywood discovery. Being only 16 at the time, I was surprisingly hit on a lot by men at least twice my age as I cruised on foot up and down Santa Monica Boulevard. I would usually only talk to men in expensive cars, and no, I wasn't working the streets. Heck, I don't even think I knew what that meant at the time. Well, one fateful night, a decent-looking black man stopped to talk to me as I walked past the donut shop about a block and a half east of Circus of Books. It's no longer there. He asked me if I wanted to hang out, maybe smoke a little pot, etc. After sizing him up, as well as his Rolls Royce, I decided he was worth my Saturday night teenage time. Once in the automobile, the gentleman introduced himself as Billy Preston. At first, I didn't believe he was the Billy Preston. After all, his huge afro that I had seen in most photos of him was shaved off, although the gap in his teeth was quite convincing. I proceeded to ask him to prove his identity. He responded by whipping out his Amex card, and there it was, his true wealthy identity. Well, we proceeded on a tour de force of WeHo and SoCal, starting with a stop at, you guessed it, his pot dealer's house. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing, his dealer laughingly quoted Billy's 1974 #1 hit single as he took the money from Billy's hands to seal the deal. At this point, I knew I was dealing with the Billy Preston. Billy could roll a joint while driving. Very impressive according to my 16-year-old standards. You're so much more fun to hang out with a lot of those in my familiar circle, he proceeded to tell me. More fun than silly David Bowie. I mean, the man calls his son Zoe. Can you believe it? Zoe Bowie. It really seemed to bother him. It must have really bothered Zoe, too, who dropped the moniker for the simple name Joey or Joe in his teenage years. You know, you really should come live with me, and I'll take care of your parents. The only problem was I wasn't out to my parents. And besides, how could he be so infatuated with me the first hour or two of our meeting? I youthfully thought to myself. Well, our next stop was Flipper's skating rink, situated on La Cienega and Santa Monica Boulevard, now a CVS. As I remember, I put on a pair of skates, but didn't even skate once around the rink, too intimidated by what seemed to be professional Los Angeles skaters. This seemed to bother Billy a bit, who had been what seemed to be endlessly skating to the thumping disco tunes. The mostly innocent romp ended with a trip to his Malibu digs, equipped with a stable which housed a lone horse and a living room with some gold records hanging on its walls. I remember his phone ringing off the hook and him failing to answer. I also remember him being intrigued that I was a Virgo, sharing the same astrological sign as he and his good pal Michael Jackson. He said Michael would be intrigued as well. That meeting never transpired. We ended the really fun evening with a trip back to Norwalk. He gave me a joint and I was on my way. It was such an exciting night, hanging out with who many would have called the fifth Beatle and all. But I couldn't tell a soul. Where did you meet him? How did you meet him? Questions I just wasn't ready to honestly answer to my parents and peers. The next day, however, while at my place of employment, which was McDonald's, the shift manager informed me that I had had a phone call from a Billy. I was a little scared that he may stalk me, although I was laughing to myself about the naivete of my shift manager, for she didn't realize who the Billy was. About 10 years later, after being out to my family and peers, I shared my story. My sister was visiting me in Brea, and I asked if she would go to a meet and greet with Billy Preston at the Westin Bonaventure Hotel. With a room full of his people, he proceeded to blow me off and said he couldn't remember our evening. That was that. I still felt a little saddened connection when I heard of his passing on 06/06/06. This is one of my mother's favorite songs. My words did glow with the gold of sunshine, and my tunes were played on the harp unstrung. Would you hear my voice come through the music? Would you hold it near as it were your own? It's a hand-me-down. The thoughts are broken, or perhaps they're better left unsung. I don't know. I don't really care. Let there be songs to fill the air. Tossed, nor wind to blow. Reach out your hand. If your cup be empty, if your cup is full, may it be again. Let it be known. There is a fountain that was not made by the hands of men. There is a road, no simple highway between the dawn and the dark of night. If you go, no one may follow. That path is for your steps alone. Ripple in still water, where there is no pebble top. should stand. Then who's to guide you? If I knew the way, I would take you home. La da da da. La da 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 da. La da da da. La da 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 da.
Hello, the title of my poem is For Her Father's Love. Her father's love meant so much to my love, I agreed to monitor myself. I agreed to de-dike and sterilize our home. If any signs of us, of me, for her father's love. I agreed to cut off both my arms to fit back into that closet I hated so much. For her father's love, a love that meant so much to my love, I defiled myself for her, and I despised myself for being such a coward. I didn't push her to stand up for us, for me. I didn't push her to deny her father and choose us, choose me. Oh, I should have, I would have, I could have, the most sorrowful words ever told. But I let it go on far too long, and I loved her far too much to turn back against a storm so heinous, so strong. And in the end, it didn't matter, for our time would never come again. All for her father's love, the love she chose over me. In the end, now and forever, it was her father's love, again and again, over me. So this poem, For My Father's Love, is about meeting a woman and making that jump to a full commitment, living together. And so I would have to be out. It was time for me to come out to many, many people. And most of it was great, except for her father. And her father had a deep, incestuous hold over her. I found out later there was incest involved. And he was very jealous of me. And he was a Baptist bigot, the biggest BB you would ever meet in your life. And he said all these hateful, horrible things about people that, you know, under the protection of the Bible. Always it was the Bible, and he hated everybody. But he hated homosexuals most of all. If you weren't a Baptist and white and a male and a woman who only served men, you could forget it, right? So, anyway, so this is about how much control. We broke up because we didn't, not because of lack of love, but because his love and his approval was ingrained in her brain for so long, it meant more to her than her love for me. It took more control. So that's what it's about. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Several of our performers this year researched LGBTQ+ figures from the art world, film, and history who also lived secret lives. They have created fictional love letters from our queer ancestors to their true loves. Letters full of longing and hope for a better day when they wouldn't have to keep secrets. Tonight, we have our first installment. Here is Ignacio as the painter Grant Wood.
July 1st, 1930. My dearest Arnold, I am shaking like a leaf, but I really need to do this. I'm writing this letter, opening my heart to you on your 21st birthday. I'll probably never be brave enough to send it to let you know how much I've always loved you. I still remember the day you became my art student. You stood out from everyone else with your long neck and piercing eyes, shy but always attentive and showing so much promise as an artist. I was so excited when you posed for me as a soldier, and even more when you accepted to become my assistant and you moved into the tiny house I shared with my mother and my sister Nan. What a joy it was spending my days with you in such tight quarters. I couldn't wait to lay my eyes on you as soon as the sun rose and we started working. Did you ever know how I really felt about you? I remember the glorious summers we spent in the art colony as if they were yesterday, painting and eating by the campfire. The days we went swimming, I relished how the glorious Iowa summer caressed your body, just the way I would have liked to. I had never been so happy, even in my bohemian days in Paris when I enjoyed sexual freedom and I could be myself for the first and very last time. But let me stop reminiscing for a second. Here you have a picture of a painting I just finished. I think I will call it American Gothic. Knowing you, I'm sure you'll realize right away that it represents the repression I felt at home, watched like a hawk by my sister Nan. What a nag she's always been, meddling between us and making up stories about my girlfriends and supposed weddings. Thank God you were around, a feast for my sore eyes. I have a surprise gift for you on this very special birthday. I've been working on a new painting in secret while I was creating American Gothic, sketching your portrait when you were going about your work and aware of my loving gaze. I hope you like the title, Arnold Comes of Age. I tried to capture your slender body, your strong neck, and the dark hair I zoomed over, but I don't know if it does you justice, Arnold, my wonder of nature. Please accept this painting as my secret token of love for you, dreamy, longing, and melancholic. I have filled it with intimate images which I hope only you will be able to interpret. I picture you and I, naked and free, innocent, like Adam and Adam in paradise, away from the prying eyes and the laws that would have sent me to prison just for revealing my true feelings for you. The butterfly will be our little secret, my tribute to the countless hours we spent at the Butterfly Tea Shop, sharing stories and projects, twin souls in spite of a difference in age. I sign my name on you to be united forever. Arnold, on this 21st birthday, you are this butterfly who has transformed into the radiant man I'm finally proud to say I love with all my heart. You are Grant.
Was a friend of mine. He was a friend of mine. Every time I think of him, I just can't keep from crying, 'cause he was a friend of mine. And he died on the road. He died on the road. He just kept on moving, never reaped what he could sow.